This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
And again, I am your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah. And this week, I don't have a particular theme to talk about to anyone. It's just, again, what about the comic stuff this week. And this week, I'm going to do approximately 3 volumes of comics. 2 of which have to be series I've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Who did this one?
Yes, this is... I originally talked about Thunderbolts as part of my Warren Ellis podcast.
Yes.
And yeah, it's like
Warren Ellis, right?
Yes, I know. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and because I waited so long to talk about the original first volume that he did, like now the second volume has come out in paperback, thank God. And my God, it is great. I mean, I know that Ellis dislikes the fact that superheroes have taken over like the graphic novel genre to such a degree that it makes it almost impossible for anything else to compete. By God, man does these things so well that you wish he'd do more. And Thunderbolts Volume 2, Caged Angels, is even more proof for that. Because, well, the first volume did a great job of showing you these supervillains working for the government and taking on all these renegade superheroes, or at least that's what they want you to think. Volume 2 basically has the Thunderbolts finding their job a lot easier. Like the superheroes are now coming in more willingly after they saw Venom eat a guy's arm on live TV, and they figure it's like, hey, you know what? We're just going to go and we're not going to fight anymore. But it turns out that's part of the plan, because it turns out these particular superheroes that they've been capturing are actually telepathic superheroes who are basically like now they're inside Thunderbolts Mountain. They're using their powers to get all the members of Thunderbolts to basically destroy themselves and make it so that the whole operation collapses in on itself. I mean, like listen, the conflicts of basically being Norman Osborn as a team leader. Then you got Moonstone, who basically wants Norman Osborn's job. And then you got the original Thunderbolts of Songbird and the Radioactive Man trying to be true to the original concept of these villains trying to redeem themselves. I mean, those themes are still there, but with this one, though, things are much more skewed in the fact that now they've got all the people in the mountain fighting against each other, and it's great stuff. Because as these psychics work their ways, I mean, like Norman Osborn goes crazy in great ways, and that allows Ellis to just go play to his strengths as like a deeply cynical superhero writer. I mean, he's got Osborn running, it's like, oh, you bastards, I've got to do it. I'm a freaking bard when you heroism. Norman's got to make the girl pregnant and snap her neck in public, and he's just going off about how he's got to be the Green Goblin and make everyone bow to his will. It's great cynical stuff. I'm gonna say it's like a lot of people made points about how the darkening of superheroes it's not a bad thing. Thunderbolts is one of the rare examples of how this has actually worked in a positive direction. Problem is that this is Ellis' second volume. It's also his last. So I'm disappointed that he's not going to be doing more on this. I mean, it's like I'd like to see him do an actual genuine run on this series as opposed to 12 issues of just him playing to his strengths. But, well...
Did he create the series?
No, he didn't. He didn't create the series, but as I mentioned before, basically this is supervillains who have been commissioned by the government to hunt down rogue superheroes after Marvel's Civil War crossover event.
Gotcha. That's right.
Yeah. And like I said, it's basically like Ellis is basically set the template for how the Thunderbolts is supposed to act, carrying on after he's left. Like it's where I hear it's Christos Gage is taking over the series for the Secret Invasion crossover now. Now I've heard that's supposed to be all right. They've got Andy Diggle, who's done some great work on Hellblazer and Losers, which might be worth checking out. But if I talk about this in later months, then yeah, you'll know it was worth it. If you don't hear back from me, then you'll know that don't bother. But still, like Thunderbolts, both volumes are well worth your time. Cool. Now, moving on to another update, we have the latest volume of the Bureau of Paranormal and Research and Defense, B.P.R.D. We'll talk about my Hellboy podcast a couple months back.
Right.
Now, this latest volume, Volume 9, is subtitled 1946. Now, originally, I wasn't going to buy this volume because it was presented as kind of like a spin-off from the main series. Because the main series is basically Mike Mignola doing the plotting and writing, John Arcudi doing the co-writing, and Guy Davis doing the art. That's the B.P.R.D team for me. B.P.R.D 1946 has Mignola doing the plotting and writing, Joshua Dysart doing the co-writing, and Paul Azaceta doing the art. I mean, I look at this and I see spin-off. Don't need to buy this. Not essential to the main plot. But then I see that, oh wait, they stopped to Volume 9 on this. So the comics buyer in me basically figures, well, this is, if they've deigned to name this the next volume of the ongoing B.P.R.D series, then I need to buy it. Well, after buying it and reading it, I can say that, well, it's not that it's bad or anything, but it's not the it doesn't have the same energy of the regular B.P.R.D series that I buy, mainly because of more for anything else these days. It proves that John Arcudi and Guy Davis are really the main reasons you want to buy this series. See, B.P.R.D 1946 basically takes up shortly after Hellboy was actually found by the B.P.R.D and Professor Trevor Butenholm. This series basically focuses on Professor Butenholm and him finding out exactly what Project Vampire Strum, one of the Nazis' secret occult plans, was actually about. Now, Vampire Strum was really discussed in the previous Hellboy volume, Wake the Devil, as a plot between Hitler and the ancient vampire Count Grudiescu, as a plot to what was it? Just to make super soldiers based on using vampire powers. Now, Hitler saw the vampire Grudiescu and thought, dude, this guy's fucking crazy. We can't do anything with him. So he basically has Grudiescu and 4 of his wives killed, except for the 5th one, who he drained her blood and then used to plot the Vampire Strum plan, which is basically super soldiers endowed with vampire blood to take over the world. When Germany looked like it was going to lose World War II, then they were to unleash all these vampire endowed soldiers on the world, and then Trevor Butenholm finds out about this plan. But problem is, like he and the B.P.R.D at this point aren't powerful enough to take this plan on. Instead, he has to team up with Russia's B.P.R.D counterpart, which is actually fronted by a cute little girl who is actually the physical embodiment of a demon, embodied by summoned by Peter the Great. Because apparently Peter made a deal with 3 demons in order to achieve his great plan of conquest for Russia. Like two of these demons took his life, took the souls of his descendants, and the 3rd one looked at it and thought, hey, you know what? This world is actually pretty cool. If you let me stay here, I'll go ahead and count our deal even. So now this demon is basically embodied a cute little girl, and he's going around like killing people for just for whatever suits his purpose.
Yeah.
Now, it's the B.P.R.D 1946. It's a decent volume. I mean, it's like, to be honest, if it hadn't been labeled Volume 9 of B.P.R.D, I probably wouldn't have given it a second thought. But as it is, I mean, it's got some nice bits. I mean, the overall plotting is sound, but it doesn't have the great witty ingenuity of the regular B.P.R.D series under Mignola and Arcudi has. And the art by Paul Azaceta, I mean, it's competent, and he does the supernatural elements well, but it doesn't have the whole, my God, I look at this guy and he can draw anything effect that Guy Davis has. I mean, Azaceta, he does it solidly. He doesn't make me regret that someone else had drawn it. But as it is, I mean, it's all right. That's what I can say. And you also get some nice bits of the B.P.R.D staff and Trevor Butenholm fighting Nazi guerrillas and guys in spider tanks and stuff. It's good, but
when you mean Nazi guerrillas, you're talking about
actual gorillas. The mammals, not the not like freedom
fighters.
Yes. Yeah, it's like And it's to be honest, like, I mean, they really didn't need this. If you're reading the B.P.R.D series, this isn't an essential part of the series. I mean, to be honest, after Volume 8, Killing Ground left off with Captain Benjamin Daimyo facing off against the Wendigo. I mean, I much rather would have seen that story continue in Volume 9 than this right here. But as it is, it's a decent enough story. But if you wanted to skip Volume 9 and wait for Volume 10, which is going to be The Warning, by the regular team of Mignola, Arcudi, and Davis, then you're not going to miss all that much. Okay. Moving on, it's like, we got a little piece of history right here. And it's a little piece of history that actually involves Batman.
Batman.
Yes.
Batman.
Yeah, because for the past couple of weeks, at my regular job, which I work for Bidner & Bidder, I meet one of the guys at my work. He's been talking about Grendel, the villainous creation by Matt Wagner. It's a criminal mastermind who is one of the great creator-owned series of the 80s and the 90s. Mm-hmm. And this buddy of mine, he's been talking about Grendel for the past couple weeks, and I figure, I rarely get recommendations from my friends about what comics to read, so I figure, that's interesting. And he tells me that the Batman Grendel comic crossover is some of the best crossovers you'll read, because it's actually a nice, it's a good combination of it's a good crossover of material right here, because Grendel is a criminal mastermind. He's basically a villainous creation who's basically trying to seize control of the New York underworld in his own creative universe. To have him cross over with Batman, who fights these kind of creatures, it's a great concept right there. In fact, the original Batman Grendel crossover was the first time the creator-owned character had crossed over with a company-owned character like Batman. Mm. And the Batman Grendel collection that I have here collects the two crossovers that Matt Wagner did. The first being with his original Hunter Rose incarnation of Grendel. Second being the Grendel Prime character fighting against Batman. Now, I'll say this: the first crossover with Hunter Rose, great stuff. Cause it's very dense, interesting crossover. That has Hunter Rose just basically feeling very bored with this time as a criminal mastermind. Hey, you know what? I heard this guy in Gotham, Batman. Yeah, he's not like a great guy to match wits against.
Right.
I'll go and fight him. Mm-hmm. So you have him matching wits against Batman, having him posing as the Riddler. Mm. Just leaving him cryptic hints against Batman. Now Batman realizes that, you know, the way the Riddler does this, you know, that's not the Riddler's style. You know, there's something else going on here.
Right.
And it's fun seeing Hunter Rose pose as the Riddler and lead Batman on in this chase and having him fight against Gotham's finest.
Did they ever uncover if the real Riddler is someplace?
Originally, Wagner talks about how the real Riddler was originally supposed to play a much bigger part in this crossover than he originally planned. But as it is, it turns out it wasn't necessary because having Hunter Rose pose as the Riddler turned out to be much more entertaining than actually bringing the Riddler himself.
So it's like, don't answer that. Don't ask that question.
Right. And it's a good crossover. It's a very dense, very layered battle of wits between Batman and Grendel. It also involves two women. One who is forced to act as Hunter Rose's editor, because Hunter Rose is actually a well-respected author in the real world, because no one knows he's Grendel. Mm-hmm. Then another one who is basically working as a museum curator to the artifacts that Hunter Rose wants to deface, because the head of the Sphinx is brought in to Gotham City for restoration, and Hunter Rose is as Grendel. It's just that this is his target. He wants to deface the face of the Sphinx to basically bear his mark as Grendel as part of this great crime.
Right.
Now it's a lot of fun, and that's like reading these first two issues. It's seeing Hunter Rose match wits against Batman. It's a lot of fun. It's like you can see why this series is very well respected for its time. Now the second half, which involves Grendel Prime, like 40 years later, let me back up for a second. Grendel Prime, from what I understand, it's like I haven't read any of his stories yet beyond this. He is basically a far future incarnation of Grendel, who serves as paladin to this future incarnation of Grendel. So it's complex, but for lack of a better term, basically it's the second Batman Grendel crossover. It's the Batman versus Terminator.
Right.
Now, when I say Terminator, I mean yes, Batman is actually facing off against a physically superior, actual robot incarnation of this person. That's what Grendel Prime is. He's a cyborg, and he's basically, after he's sent back in time, he finds out that Hunter Rose's bones are being shown off to Gotham in this this art exhibition focusing on the evil, many villains of Gotham that have plagued the town forever.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
his bones.
Yes, his bones, and it's a decent enough crossover. But the second volume, it's basically like you look at it and you think it's basically Batman versus Terminator.
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily badly written or badly illustrated, but it lacks the denseness or the appropriate fitting that that Batman versus Hunter Rose had. Like Batman versus Grendel Prime. I mean, you could have swapped out Prime for Schwarzenegger's Terminator, and there wouldn't really have been all that much difference.
Sure.
Yeah. In fact, to be honest, I know that Batman has faced off against the Aliens twice and Predator 3 times in comics. Mm-hmm. He hasn't actually faced off against the Terminator.
Until now. Technically.
Yes. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, look at this, it's not bad. But overall, Batman and Grendel on paperback, it's not a bad buy, I'll admit. I mean, it's like, on the inside, I'm like reading the original Grendel stuff by Matt Wagner is more interesting, but like this, in terms of crossover stuff, this is like, I'll admit it's cut above most other stuff you'll read.
Okay.
So I'll admit that. Batman versus Predator, that's actually good readings too. The original miniseries, anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay. And on that note, I think we'll be calling it a week, and hopefully next week I'll have even more interesting stuff to talk about, because maybe I come back to Comic Shop, will actually get more, get all the stuff I've ordered for the past couple weeks in, and then we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Until then, see you later.
Night.